Hello, this is Jamie Magritte. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. This basically was started from this scrap paper here that I had sitting on my desk from where I cut out some dies, and I came up with this card. So let's get started. I'm using the Sending Smiles. I'm going to use one of the little sentiments on it, and the dies that matches it, Sending dies. I'm going to be using, if I can get these out of here, the Sending and the little label, and then this little set of flowers here. Then I'm also bringing in the iconic dies for the fern, because that's what I used. I cut out the ferns out of this piece of vanilla cardstock so that for our previous project. So let's get started here. I have a scrap of Night of Navy, and that will be to cut this out of. I have a scrap of Old Olive, and that will be to cut the sentiment out of. And I'm going to be bringing in the bough punch, cut out a couple of those on the end of this, and the medium daisy punch, I'll cut out a couple of those. So I've got a scrap of white to cut out the daisies and to stamp my sentiment on. This piece is 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. It's vanilla. Again, it's just a scrap that I had on my desk that I'd used to cut out some of those ferns with. And then to mat that, I have a 3 by 5 3/8 piece of Old Olive, and that'll mat underneath there like that. And then I have my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay. Now this, let's go ahead and stamp my sentiment first, and then we'll do our die cutting. I'm just going to use Starry Sky ink. I could use Night of Navy, but I wanted a little bit different color. Go ahead and stamp that. I'm going to stamp it at this end, and then I know I have enough room. There you go. Okay. That's all the stamping. This is a die cut card mostly. Okay, let's bring in the punch and punch a couple of daisies out. I just need 2 of them. Okay, so I'll put those aside for a minute. And on this end of this Old Olive, we're going to go ahead and punch a couple of these. One of those. One of those. Okay. So those pieces. Oh, I need to trim this so that I can fit this through. I'm going to use my little machine, so let's just trim that off. Bring in the little die cutting machine. Okay, now, oops, where's the plates? Go. Put those on there. I'm going to put this one here, the Old Olive, and the shadow layer of the Sending. Let's see. Do that there. This one, bring in this little label. I think I'm going to use some tape. Okay, go ahead and run those through. That piece, and there's that piece. Okay, now I'm going to bring in a piece of Night of Navy. And I'm going to turn this plate over. I'm going to go ahead and run this through. And on this other end, I'm going to run these little flowers through as well. I need 6 of them, so. Okay, I need a couple more of these. So I'll go ahead and put that on there. And one more. Let's do that one there. There we go. Alright, that's all of our pieces. Take your pick tool. Alright. Alright, we've got all of our pieces. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this scrap piece, and you'll see it's got the fern from Iconic Dies cut out of it 5 times. I just had staggered it so I could get the most out of my scrap piece. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to this old olive piece. I'm just going to use the Tombow liquid glue. Excuse me. A little bit of glue. All along the edges. Just a tiny bit on some of these bigger pieces. Okay, and that's going to go on here. There's just going to be a tiny little bit of a border. Okay. And this is going to get sent on the front of the card. And again, there's going to be a little tiny bit of a border on the 2 sides. Okay, so there's that piece. Now we're going to bring in the sending and the shadow layer. This is really delicate, so now I probably should have put adhesive on the back of it first, but I forget to every time. So I'm just going to put little tiny dabs. I'm barely squeezing the bottle. Whatever's sitting on the tip, I'm just kind of smearing around. Okay. And I'm going to start on the S and center that up. Just work my way down. It's stuck to my finger. Well, and you'll notice I don't have the tittle for the eye, or the dot for the eye, because I'm going to use one of those little flowers instead. So I'll bring in one of those little flowers. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of a couple spots there. Put that where that dot goes. Okay. I'm going to take the two daisies. I'm going to mount one on top of the other one. Little dab of glue in the center. Bring in my bone folder. Turn it over. And I'm going to put the paper between the bone folder and my thumb. And I'm just going to curl these just a little bit. You could do them before. I just thought of it after and it worked, so that's what I did. And then I'm going to put one of these little flowers in the center. Okay. So now let's put some dimensional on the back of the flower. I'm going to use a little one because that's what I have here. I'm going to turn this over. I'll put some dimensionals on the back of this. Probably don't need this many, but okay, and there's my take your pick tool. I'm going to use this to take these backs off. Okay. Alright, then I'm going to add the sending. And that's going to go down here. Like that. Add a couple dimensionals on the back of this one. this is going to get tucked under the Y, or the G. And a little bit under the S. Go ahead and adhere that down. Okay, then this is going to go up here. I've got one of these leaves. Let's put some glue on the back of it. It's going to go under here. This other little leaf, or sprig, it's going to get stacked on top of that one. Probably could have used dimensionals under that, but didn't think of that till just now. Then we're going to bring in some of those little flowers. Stagger a couple of those around. Let's put one there. A couple over here. Okay, then I'm going to bring in rhinestones. Let's see, do I want to add any more of these flowers? I think less is more. Maybe needs one more there. Let's do one more. That's an odd number instead of 6. So I have them cut, so. Okay, bring in the rhinestones. And let's put a medium-sized one on this daisy here in the middle. And then a small one on each one of the centers of each of these other flowers. There we go. Here's the card we just made together. And here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.